I also see that, like, you are very one of the people I've talked to who's very, like, have a lot of clarity on this, like, right? Like, I struggled with this for a long time personally, and a lot of people I do talk to in the startup world, especially when you're young, you struggle with this purpose part and the vision part. And so I want to kind of learn more about that. Like, how did you get so good at it? Like, having this kind of clarity on this, right? And number two, I also, like, read about, like, you follow the intrinsic motivation framework. I want to
Yeah.
kind of know more about that as well. Like, so how can people figure out for themselves this whole thing of, like, how to have more purpose and better, like, how to have a purpose and better clarity on deciding what they want to work on?
Yeah, there are multiple different angles to look at this. Like market sizing, you do top down, bottom up, analysis. I think there's some level of self-awareness, or I guess some people call it intrapersonal intelligence. Like so, it's like meta intelligence. You want to know about yourself while knowing about some certain subject. Because ultimately, like when people say you have to be authentic about yourself, it's really not just like saying what's in your mind, but it's about living the life that you feel most natural at in terms of your own operating system. And everyone has a different operating system that's installed into your brain. One of the ways to look at it is like through personality assessments, right? Whether it be Big Five factor model or Myers-Briggs. I think Myers-Briggs is more better, widely used, better marketed. All the Big Five factor models might be more accurate. So just to give you one example, right? I'm an ENTJ. So J is highly structured, goal oriented. I like to look at the goal and backward engineer what are steps need to do is, set up a plan, stuff like that. Whereas someone who's high P would be more like spontaneous, more fluid, creative, adapt to the new environment, whatever that's like given to them, they'll adapt to this new environment more easily. I'm a J, so I need to have this end picture in mind for me to find motivation and feel energized. And so kind of the way I motivate myself is to really think about what's been consistent throughout my life. What's my pattern of decision making, a pattern of priorities. And one thing that what's helpful was I discovered this diary of myself when I wrote when I was like 6 to 8 year old. My mom found it when she was cleaning the house. It's like and I thought I was a very like kind of creative, doing all different kind of things as a child. Turns out like 90% of my diary was about computers, writing software, editing games, just figuring, building tools. And the other part was interesting was I was always creating communities around it. I was gathering a group of friends, setting community guidelines, protocols, call signals, passwords. It was all kind of team driven. So I'm like, okay, I got to do something technology, probably because I'm naturally attracted to that because of the way it scales. And two is I like to do it in group of people. So that kind of like was a kind of a good kind of rubric or pattern that I recognized from my early childhood. Now, one thing that I recognized I enjoyed doing while I was working at for some other company was when I was writing software, getting the software in hands of the users, and it was an internal tool. So obviously my customers were inside the company, and getting their feedback, and then iterating on that was so fulfilling, and I felt so much joy in that. And when someone was disappointed or excited, I felt like that feedback loop, that one cycle was so motivating for me that I felt like I could do this for the rest of my life. And that also connects with my early childhood diaries, how I love software, sharing the love for software to other people and hardware too, and then getting feedback and then try to sell it, get other people to use it and stuff like that. So all of this thing was always there. It's like this pattern has not changed. So this operating system will forever be there. And then again, because I'm J, I need to extrapolate what this looks like. And then what is my end game? What is my end picture for life was, and I said it probably in one of the interviews, is I define civilization as a collection of things that people take for granted, like electricity, water, internet, smartphones. Nobody even think about who created the first sewer system, hopefully, because it's so widely adopted and so widely used. And I want to create a technology-based product, hopefully good in design, that gets so universal that people take for granted, that becomes part of civilization. That dream, that kind of end game, motivates me so deeply. That's literally what gets me up in the morning. Now, how do I get from here to there is, building things that scale, that have a massively global impact. Like Sember, we're touching 100 million plus lives, we can get to a billion. So if you connect all of these dots, my pattern or operating system all the way to the end picture, this is a very clean, simple story to tell for myself. And because I have been thinking a lot about this, whatever other temptation that may come in, it's really hard to knock me off of my rails because there's a lot of structures and thoughts and patterns and your operating systems that have installed around it. So there's some level of resilience around that. And a lot of this, again, is really understanding about yourself through self-awareness and also getting feedback from others and trying to, because our memories are very volatile, connecting the dots from the past and really see what that line looks like and just extrapolating to the future and then just cutting out all the noise and distractions that are not part of the core, then I think you kind of find your mission in your life. That's a long rambling.
No, it's actually pretty cool.